So guys, please listen. Whenever you are writing a C program, okay, there are various sections in a program. Actually, write Okay, guys, can you please tell me whether my voice is audible now? Is it clear? Confirm two things. Is my voice audible? And also let me know whether my screen is visible. Okay, very good. So now we can proceed. Done. Okay, guys. So first, yes. So the first thing what we are going to be looking into is how to write a C program. Okay, what are the details that I should be knowing for writing my C program? So we are going to start with that. See guys, the session what I have planned is more of practical oriented because I know very well that theory you already read in your college and other things. You are already doing lot of theory things. So I don't want to again teach you the same theories. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to concentrate on more about programmings. So we are going to learn the concepts. Then we are going to see how to apply those concepts in our programs to do this. So this is our target. Okay, so first thing is before writing any C program, I should know what is the basic structure of a C program. So every C program that I write can consist of these following sections. The first and the foremost is what we call as the documentation section. Okay, so first thing is our documentation. So what is a documentation? So we call this as a documentation section. So what exactly are we going to do in this? So inside this section, we are going to add the description about our program. See, why are you going to write this program? What is the purpose of it? Okay, who is the author of this program? On what date you have written? When was the first version got? Then after that, have you made any changes? Is it another having another new version added? So whatever it is, all the details we are going to maintain in this documentation section. Okay, so how to write our documentation section is we have, yes, we have the concept of our comments. Okay, yes, don't worry, guys. I have started the recording. The recording will be in progress. So, recording is in progress. No worries there. Okay, so the first thing is about comments. How to write my documentation is using the concept of my comments. So, what exactly is a comment? So, a comment is what we call as a non-executable code. See, whenever we write a program, the code can be classified into two categories. One, we call it as executable statements. The other one is a non-executable statement. So what is an executable statement is that any statement that is going to be part of our code, that is part of our program. It is going to affect the output of our program in some way. Then those statements we are going to call as an executable statements. But now our comments are what we call as non-executable statements. So they are called as non-executable statements. So if they are non-executable, then what is the use of a comment? So please remember, comments are useful for the programmer. It is for the programmer's benefit we are writing the comments. Okay, say for example, today you're writing one program. So after some 2 years, you're opening the file. You want to know what is the code you have written. What is this program? So for that, what is that we are going to do? We have to look into the entire program. Okay, what is happening here? How is the program flow going? So once you analyze the program only, you will know, okay, this program is doing this. But instead of that, if we add the comments on top, okay, I am writing this program for this purpose. So no matter the comment will always be there. So whenever you are opening the file, it is always easy for us to look into the concepts. So that is the purpose of the comments. So non-executable statements, we are writing this for the purpose of the programmer. So for the programmer's benefit, I am going to be writing this. Right. So now the next question is how to write a comment. Okay, next thing is how am I going to write my comments? So there are two ways of writing my comments. So one, we call this as, so as I said, they are non-executable statements. So writing is two different ways are there. So one, we call it as a single line comment. So it is a single line comment. So that is one single line you can comment and write. How to write that? We will be using this symbol, double slash. So after double slash, whatever we write. So whatever we write after the double slash, that line is going to be ignored by my compiler. My compiler is not going to look into this line at all. So as soon as it sees this double slash, it is going to say, okay, this is a comment. So it will not do any checking whether the syntax is right, this is right, what you have written inside. No, nothing. The comment is not going to care about this line at all. The second way is writing a multi-line comment. We call this as a multi-line comments. So what exactly is the necessary for a multi-line comment is that suppose you want to write an entire paragraph. You want to add a detailed description about the program. So for each and every line, it is very difficult for us to keep on adding the slash, double slash. So instead of that, we are going to go to a multi-line comments. How we are going to write a multi-line is a star, slash followed by a star symbol. This is the opening. And then we can write an entire paragraph like this. This is a, so I'm writing, right. So then I have to give the closing. So from the opening till the closing. So from this opening symbol till the closing, everything, whatever we have written inside is considered as a comment. So the compiler is again not going to bother about these lines at all. It will not check for any errors. Okay, have you kept the semicolon? Have you written the spellings correctly? Nothing. It is not going to bother about it at all. So this is the purpose of my comments. So documentation section gives you the detailed description about the program, and how to add the documentation is with the help of my comments. So there are two ways by which you can add a comment to a program. And remember this guys, comments are very important whenever you're looking for a job oriented things. So in any IT company you're planning to join, or you're in your third year, as I said yesterday, 3-1, you will start your placements. So again, when you're attending any interviews, when you're writing any coding exams, it is expected, every company expects you that you have to make use of these comments and write in the program. So then only they are going to consider your code. The marks are going to be given based on how you are writing the code. So this is one of the main things that you have to follow. Okay, so this is about your documentation section. Okay, so what is the next thing? So this is the first section of a program. What is the next thing? Preprocessor directives. Now, what is a preprocessor? So the second section or the second part of the code that we will be writing is our preprocessor directive. So what exactly is our preprocessor? So you all write your C program. What is the first thing you write in a C program? First line, whenever we start our program, the first line of C program, we will write something like this, hash include. So hash include stdio. This is what the first line we write. Dot h. Any C program, this is how we begin. So what is this hash? This hash symbol is what we call as a preprocessor directive. So the hash symbol is called as a preprocessor. So only hash include is there? No. I have lot of preprocessors like this. I have hash include is one of the preprocessors. Okay, other than this, I have another preprocessor which is called as hash define. I have another preprocessor called as hash if. I have one more which is called as hash else. So like this, there are many preprocessors that are available for us in our C language. So now the name here, what suggests? Preprocessor. Now what do you mean by pre? Pre means something that is going to happen before itself. Okay, so before the compilation of the program, that is compilation. What did I say yesterday? Compilation means compiling the program, that is the source code that you have written. you are going to convert that into machine language, into zeros and ones, so that your computer can understand what are you asking it to do, and it will be able to do the program and produce an output for you. So this is the process of compilation. So compilation process, what it is going to do, it is going to check your source code first. Okay, have you made any errors? Have you followed all the syntax or not? So now syntax, what is it syntax? Nothing but rules. Every programming language has a rule. I have to follow those rules and write the code. So compilation process checks. First, it does the checking. Okay, have I followed all the rules? If I have followed, then it will convert my program into zeros and ones so that a computer can understand what I'm asking it to do and produce the required output. So this is the process of compilation. So preprocessor directive means something before the compilation. So something is going to happen before the process of my compilation. So that is the need of the preprocessors. So one of the preprocessor, now all the rest of it we will see one by one when we are looking into all the topics. We will see what are all the other things. What is hash define? What is if? What is elif? Hash elif? Hash else? So we will look into all these things. But first and foremost, we are going to be seeing about our hash include. So we will look first into the preprocessor called as hash include, because 100% every program we are going to make use of it. Now, what is this hash include? Now, listen, include is an English word. So what do you mean by that include? I am asking you to include me in your gang. That means I want to join you. The same meaning here also. So include means I want something to be included in my program. So what is that I want to include? I want to include something called as a header file. So what is it I want to include? I want to include something called as a header file. So now next question comes, what is an header file? Why should I include that in my program? So please remember, header files are nothing but predefined files. That is already files that are created for me. It is created, it is added along with the C language, and it is available. I can make use of it. So what is the purpose of this header file? So inside each and every header file, they have created functions. They have created functions and kept. So when we want to make use of that function, first thing what we have to do, we have to add that header file in our program. For example, why is that every time you add stdio, every program we add this stdio.h. So what is the reason for this? See, in all the programs, you make use of a function called as printf. Every C program, whatever you write, we make use of a function that is called as printf. So what is this printf? Yes, one thing, printf is a function. Okay, then what else? Printf is an output function. That is another point. So what is the purpose of this function? Whatever you give inside the printf is going to be displayed for us. Whatever we give inside the printf is going to be displayed for us in the output window. So that is the purpose of my printf function. So now this printf is a predefined function. I did not create it. It has already been created and it is made available for us. So where is it available? It is present inside this header file called as stdio. So what is the full form of stdio? Standard input output. So all the functions that is related to your input and output is present inside this file. So that is the reason. So in your program, I am going to make use of printf. So when I run the program, my compiler, how will it know what is printf? What is the work of printf? So for that reason only, you are adding this file in your program. So the preprocessor, what it is going to do, it is going to add this file to your program. So how is it going to add? As a preprocessor, I am giving the instruction, okay, hash include. So what is to be included? This stdio. Stdio is the name of the file. .h is the file extension. So what is a file extension? File extension is used to identify the type of file, what file it is. See, for example, my C program, This is a C program. See, what is the file extension given here? Main.c. So main is name of my file. .c is the file extension. Likewise, this stdio.h, this is a header file. So that is why it is having the file extension as .h. Okay, right. So this file, now I am asking the preprocessor to include this in my program. So how is the preprocessor going to do this? For that only, I have the next section. The next section is called as the link section. So what is the first one I told you? Documentation. So we know about the documentation now. The next section is nothing but our preprocessor directive. That is, we are going to give the hash include, and then we are going to mention what file needs to be included in my program. Okay, two steps are done. What is the next process? Link section. So the third process is my link. So what is the purpose of link? So link, as the name suggests, it is going to do the joining work. So my link section is going to create a link between this stdio.h file and the program file that I am going to create. So it will do all the necessary inclusions. So whatever I'm asking it to include, the link section will create the link, will create the inclusions in my program. So this is the purpose of my link section. So what is a link section? It is used to include the header file. Whatever header files we have mentioned, with the help of my preprocessor, it is added into my code in the link section only. Right, so three sections are done. So coming to the fourth point. So what is the fourth section? The fourth section we have as a definition section. The fourth section, what we have is what we call as a definition section. So what is this definition? So definition section means, say, in my program, I want to create some variables. I want to create some variables, but I want to create these variables in a global scope. We have something, we call it as a global scope. Okay, so I want to create variables and I want to give the values for these variables. Okay, and there is another section here which is called as global section. So these two together we will be working. So what is the work of the definition section and the global section is, there are some variables in the program which you will create in such a way that those variables can be accessed or can be used by anybody in the program. Like, you know, in a program, every C program has a main function. Other than main, we also may create our own functions. So we want to create variables in such a way that the variables can be used by the main function also. The same variables can be used by some other functions also. So such type of variables is what we call as a global variable. So global variable means variables that can be used throughout the program. So throughout the program, we can make use of those things. So that is what we call as global. So where to create the global variables and where to give the values for the global variables is in this part. So this is where we are going to be doing that. Now, after doing the variables, after giving the variables, what is the next thing? The next thing is the most important of all, our main function. Please remember one thing, guys, without the main function, can you run a C program? That is my question. Without using the main function, is it possible for us to execute a C program? So look here. Here, I am not giving this main function is not there. I have deleted the main function. I'm having my hash include. Let us say I'm creating some variables also. Okay, I am saying int a is equal to some value. And then I'm saying int x is equal to giving some values like this. Okay, variables are here. Let us say I am creating some other functions also. Okay, some other functions. Don't worry about the syntax. If you don't understand also, it's okay. We are just doing this to have an idea. Okay, so this is some other function. So all these things I have created, but there is no main. Other than main, I have done everything. Now I want to compile this program. I want to compile the program first. So please remember, any C program, there are two steps for you to execute the program. First, you will compile the program, then you will run the program. This is the step you will be following. Right, so let me open an offline editor. I'm going to open an offline editor. I'm going to use code blocks. Okay, so you can use any editors as you want here. You can use your Turbo C, Turbo C++, Dave C++, code blocks. There are a lot of softwares available for us to execute our C programs. So whichever ones you are finding it easy, you can make use of that particular software. So let us say this is my program. Okay, so let me copy the file from there. Here, I'm just going to copy this and I'm going to paste it here. Okay, let us add a print statement also inside this. So I'm just going to say printf hi, nothing else, just hi. Okay, close it. Done. So now, first step, what did I say? Any program that you're writing, first you have to compile the program. So depending on the software that you're using to execute, some softwares will have the option as compile. Some softwares will have the option as build. So it will be either build or compile. So that is the first step you have to do. So I am building the software. See, is it showing any errors? There is no errors at all. See, the program is getting all highlighted in green color. That means it is having no errors at all. So even without the main, the program is compiling. So please remember, compilation will happen. But when I execute to run the program, so compilation successful, now I am running the program. See what happens. So it is going to throw me an error. It is going to say that your program will not be executed because your main function is not there. So please understand, without the main function, okay, without the main function present within a program, it is possible for us to compile the program. So without main, we can compile the program, but we cannot execute the program. Execution of the program is not possible. What is the purpose of execution? If you execute only, you will be able to see the output. Without execution, how to see the output? Not possible, right? So please understand, without main. So without this function, what is going to happen to our code? You can execute, sorry. Okay, without this particular function, compilation will happen. So compilation of the program will happen, but no execution can be done. So execution cannot be done. Okay, now this is the first point. Okay, now what is the, yes, I will tell that also, ma. Now what is the next thing is, what is the purpose of main? Why is that every program has a main function? Whether you're learning C also, main is there. You're learning C++ also, main is there. You're learning Java also, main is there. So why is that every program has this main function? What is the purpose of the main function? So please understand, main function is what we call as an entry point of a program. Entry point of a program, or what we call as a starting point. Starting or the entry point of a program. That is the purpose of my main. Okay, simple example we'll take here. Suppose you are building a house. Okay, your dream is to build your own house. So you are building an house. Okay, why do you keep a main door? Everybody can jump from the window and come inside your house, right? What is the purpose of a main door? I want to come inside in a proper way. So my whole house is there. I have a kitchen, I have bathrooms are there, rooms are there, hall is there, dining hall is there, everything is there. So how to come inside? The proper way is through the main door, I will come inside. From there only, I will go to all the other places. Same thing in my program also. So imagine you are writing a program, not just 5 or 10 lines of program. Let us say some 10,000 lines of program. From where the execution will start? From which line my program will start producing the output? There should be some starting point. That main is that starting point. Okay, so please remember, main function is a starting or the entry point for a program's execution. Okay, so without the main function, you may be able to compile the program, but you cannot execute the program. Okay, now answering your question. Main is what type of a function? Main is a user-defined function. It is a user-defined function. It is not predefined. Okay, what do you mean by predefined? Predefined means it is already present. The function is already present. You are just going to make use of it, like my printf. Printf is predefined. Yes, it is. You are not doing any writing. You are not writing the code for printf. You are just making use of the printf. But for main, who is writing the code inside the main? I have a main function. Who's writing the code of it? I'm only going to write the code now. So that means it is a user defined function, or what we call as a programmer defined function. So user defined function, we also call it as a programmer defined function, because we are the ones who are going to write code inside the main. That is why we call it as a user defined. Right. Okay. Now the next question is main a keyword? Is main a keyword? So you know that is main a keyword? Now, first, next to question, what you have to know is what is a keyword? Okay, I'm asking, is main a keyword? Before knowing that, you should know what is a keyword. Every programming language has something which we call as a keyword. Okay, keywords, otherwise also known as reserved words. So, alternate name for it, we also call it as reserved words. Okay, what do you mean by this? These are nothing but predefined words. These are nothing but predefined words. So each and every keyword already has a special meaning. Each and every word has a special meaning. We cannot change that meaning. That is, as a programmer, you cannot change the meaning of a keyword. For example, int. For example, int is a keyword. What is the purpose of int? Where do you use int? For creating a variable. Int means integer. For creating a variable, we use int. So like that, we have lot of keywords. You use something called as float. We use something called as double. And most importantly, we use something called as if. So what is if? If is used to specify some condition. So condition we give with the keyword if. So then we have something called as else. So all these are what we call as keywords. So keywords are what? They are predefined words, or what we call as reserved words. So what is the purpose of this keyword is each and every word has a special meaning. Using these keywords only, we are going to write our program. Our entire program we are going to write with the help of these keywords and functions only. So in C language, there are totally keywords. Main is not a keyword. So the 32 keywords, if you ask what are those, this is the list of your keywords. I can show you the list of all your keywords. So this is what it is going to be like. One second, guys. Yes, these are your 32 keywords. So in C language, totally there are 32 keywords, and these are the keywords. So as you can see, all the keywords are written in lowercase alphabets. Each and every keyword is given in a lowercase alphabet. See, there is no need for us to mug up anything. No need for us to by heart all this, because making use of all these keywords only, you will be writing your program. So automatically when you start writing your programs, you will get to know about each and everything. So for now, what you have to know is totally there are 32 keywords. All the keywords are written in lowercase letters. Okay. And main is not a keyword. Main is not a keyword. Even though it is not a keyword, you cannot change the name. You cannot change the name. Even though it is not a keyword, we always have to make use of it as main only. We are not allowed to change the name. Okay, so that is the thing. Is main a keyword? No, it is not a keyword, but we are not allowed to change the name. Whenever we have to write it, we have to write it in caps, nothing. It has to be maintained in the same manner. Right. So now, next step is how to write my main function. How exactly am I going to write my main function? Yes, I will tell you that. We will come to that. What is the difference between a keyword and identifier? Yes, we will tell. So next question. Okay, now you know what is main. Okay, you know what will happen if the main is not there. Main is a user defined function. Yes, I told you about that point also. Then main is a keyword. No. Now the next thing about main function, what you should be knowing is how to write my main. When you go and search any program in online compile, in online in Google and all, you may see that some of you would have written the main function like this, void main. Then inside this they would have written all their codes. So open curly brace, close curly brace, and some statements, or what we call as a code. So some people would be writing like this. Then some people would be using another form of the main function. How they will be writing? They will be using something called as int main. So int main. Then within the curly braces, they will be writing some statements. Then at the end of the main, they would have given return 0. This is another way of writing our main function. So you can either write it as void main or you can write it as int main. So these are the two ways in which you are going to write your main function. Okay, so now what is the difference here? Yes, you can write either this way or you can write this way. What is the difference? So for that, you have to understand what do you mean by this keyword void. Void is one of the keyword. I told you there are totally 32 keywords. So in that, one of the keyword is nothing but your void. So what is the use of this keyword void? So please remember, void means nothing. Meaning of void is nothing. In C language, the keyword void means nothing. Okay, first let us understand the purpose of a function. Okay, why are we writing a function? Why are we creating a function? We are creating a function to do some work, to assign some task, to do some operation. Okay, after doing the task, what needs to happen? Let us take a simple example here. I want to transfer some money from my account to your account. Okay, I have your account number. So what I will do, I will log into my bank account. I will put your account number and I will say transfer. So transfer the amount. Now, how will I know whether the amount has reached you or not? Whether it has to reach you only now by mistake if I am sending it to someone else, or how am I supposed to know all that? Whether the work, the task is amount should come from my account to your account. How to know whether the work has been done properly or not? For that reason only, bank sends us an acknowledgement that is nothing but a message. As soon as we do any transfer, or else take example, you're using phone pay to make a payment, you're ordering food in Swiggy. So from your account, the amount is deducted and to that Swiggy fellow, you're making a payment, or in Zomato, you're making a payment. So how do we know whether the payment has happened successfully or not? We get a message. So the message says the amount has been deducted from or debited from your account and has been credited to the other person's account. Like that, you're getting a message. That message is what we call as an acknowledgement. Okay, so same way, I am creating this function main. Inside the main, I'm asking it to do some work. How will I know whether the work has been done properly or not? So I should have some acknowledgement. So that acknowledgement is what I get when I write this type of main function. So this, when I write the main function in this way, I get an acknowledgement saying that my main has completed all its tasks successfully. And what is that acknowledgement? This return 0. So return 0 is nothing but my acknowledgement. But here, when I use void, I don't get any message. Main, okay, it is doing the work, that's all. But whether it is done correctly or not, I will not be knowing it. Okay, now here I keep saying I will not be knowing it. I am not going to get it. So who is that I here? Not the programmer, but my operating system. So please understand who is responsible for executing the main function is my operating system. So important point here, OS. OS is responsible for the execution of the main. So when I say OS is responsible, what is the OS going to do? What is the operating system going to do? So see, for running a program, I need the help of my operating system. Why? I need some memory space. In my program, I will be creating variables. Who will give the memory for that variable? I will be creating some functions. So for that function also some memory is required. So who is going to give all that memory? My operating system. So remember, operating system is the one who is responsible for the execution of the main function. So whenever you run the program, the operating system will call the main. Okay, so now someone is running the program. So the operating system will go inside the program. It will start the execution by calling the main function. Okay, so it is going to allocate all the resources for this program. I may need around 20 bytes of memory or 100 bytes of memory. Whatever is the requirement, my operating system is going to give all that resource to my main function. Then it is going to main is going to take care of all the work. It will create the variable, it will do all the task. So once the work is over, once the work is completed, my operating system has to take back all the memory, has to deallocate the memory. Why to deallocate? What if the main is holding on to the memory? How to reuse it? Simple, again a simple example here. Imagine you are having a lab session today for 2 hours. You're going to your college lab, you're sitting from 11 to 1 o'clock is the lab. So after 1 o'clock, you have to come out of the lab. Then only somebody else can reuse the lab. If you keep on sitting in front of the system, how is the other person going to use it? That is the same concept here also. So my operating system is going to allocate the memory. So the main function is going to make use of all those memory. Once my main is completed, once it finishes all the work, what it is going to do with the memory? It has to give back everything. My operating system has to take back everything. But how will my operating system know whether main has completed or not? Is this acknowledgement. So as soon as my operating system receives this acknowledgement, okay, as soon as it sees this return 0, then it will know, okay, my main has completed its work. Now I can take back everything. Whatever resources I have given, I can retake all those resources. That is why it is always advisable for you to write the program using int main. Do not use void main. Even though your program will work, I am not saying program will not work. Even if you use void main, say for example, here I am saying void main. So when we use void main, we will not give any acknowledgement. We will not give any acknowledgement. So directly I'm just giving printf. I am just saying welcome. That's it. Okay. So now I'm going to execute my program. I'm going to run my program. Okay. So see here, I am getting an output says welcome. Okay. So program will execute. There is no problem in that. Even if you use void main or if you're going to use int main, both the times the program will be executed. But which is the proper way of doing it is by using the int main. And the reason is this, because whatever allocation is done to my main, my operating system has to get it back. When will it get back? Only on seeing this return 0. So that is why always 0. Why we always use 0? Why not I say return 10, return 100, return minus 10? Why are we giving 0? Because they have created the system like that. For my OS, once it sees 0, it will know, okay, successfully main has completed. So 0 means success for my operating system. In its mind, that is how it is thinking. So that is why we always say return 0. Okay, now what is this int? What is this int? Int is again another keyword. Int is again one more keyword. Okay, int means integer. So the keyword int represents integers. So integers are nothing but numbers. What are integers? Integers are nothing but numbers. To be more precise, they are whole numbers. So when I say numbers, there are different types of numbers we have. I have whole numbers, I have fractional or decimal numbers. So different kinds of numbers is there. I have real and imaginary numbers. So when I say just a number itself, I have different types of numbers available for me. So integer or int represents whole numbers. That is numbers without any fractional or decimal value. Okay, so now 0. 0 is what type of a number here? It is a whole number. So that is why we are using this here saying int main. So int main means I'm telling the operating system that this function is going to return and that is this function is going to give you back an integer number. So that is the reason why we are giving here int. So this int and void both are my keywords. So void means nothing. Why nothing? Because this function is not going to give you any value. Here we are saying int. Why? Because we are going to return this 0. Okay, now another keyword here is return. So in this simple high program itself, we are seeing so many keywords. One is void, one is int. The other keyword is return. So what is this return keyword? The return keyword is like a courier, delivery boy. We call him a delivery person. Okay, see, one thing. What is a delivery person going to do? Postman is there. Postman is a delivery person. Courier fellows are there. Okay, so simpler. When you order something, who is going to bring that order to you? That person. That is nothing but my return. So my operating system, there is a link between my operating system and my program's main. So my operating system is going to call my main. My main is going to respond to my operating system. So there is going to be some sort of communication happening between these two. So who is going to be my transporter in this? My return keyword. So my return keyword is going to carry the number from here to my operating system and give it. So that is the work of this return keyword. So remember, return is just like a courier or a transport guy who's going to take the value and is going to give it back to somebody, whoever you are saying. Okay, whomever you are assigning, he will give the values to that particular person. In our scenario, it is the operating system. We will be using more of this return later in our programs. So just in this simple hello world program, we have seen three different keywords. So int is a keyword. Then again, return is a keyword for us. So whenever you're using int main, you always have to say return 0. And remember one more point. Yeah, sorry about the spelling. Yeah, one more point you have to remember is this return 0 should always be the last statement inside the main. That is right before the closing of my curly braces. I have to write the return 0 here. Okay, just imagine. Let us run this. Same output it is going to give me. Welcome. Suppose if I am writing this return 0 before this, see what happens. Run this program. See what is the output? No output at all. Why? Return means what? From this line onwards, I am saying take the 0, give it to my operating system. So whatever code you are giving down below the return will never be executed. Why? Return means I'm saying main is over, go back. So now that is the reason why this is becoming an unreachable code. We call this as an unreachable code. So always remember, return should be the last line inside the main function. Just right before the closing of your curly braces, you should write the return. If you're writing it before, then from that line onwards, the program will be ending. Right, so this is about your main function. So what is a main function? Main function is the entry point of a program. So without main function, program will not execute, but it will compile. Main is a user-defined function. Main is not a keyword. Who is calling the main function? Your operating system is the one responsible for the execution of my main function. How to write my main function? I have two different ways of writing my main function. One is void main, other is my int main. Which one is most preferred way? I always have to use the int main method. And whenever I'm writing int main, the last code should be of return 0. And we have discussed about all these keywords. Okay, now I want you guys to know, is there any doubt in this? Can you please ping me if you have any doubt? I will address the next question regarding your identifiers and keywords. I'll come to that point next. But so far, if you guys have any doubts, can you please message in the chat? Hmm. Yes, very good. Why can't we make use of float or char instead of int? Okay, again, what did I say here? 0. So 0 is a number. Okay, 0 is a number, which is an integer or a whole number. So that is the reason why we are using here int. If we are returning some other value, suppose let us say if I am returning a value like this, 78.2, which is a decimal value or a fractional value. So then I am going to say return float. Then I can say return float. But here for my operating system, which is the number it knows as success, 0. And 0 is actually an integer number. That is why we are always writing the main function as int main, not any other format. Okay, that is very nice. Okay, when to use void, I'll tell you that. Yes, see, return 0. Okay, oh, two things. When I should use void. So void you should make use of when you do not want any acknowledgement. That is, you are just asking this function to do the work. I am saying I don't know whether you finished the work properly or not. I don't care. Okay, I don't want any acknowledgement from you. Just I want this to be done. You do it. You take care of the entire responsibility. Then you will say void. So void means I'm not going to say anything. Void is nothing. Okay, void means nothing. That is, this function is going to do some task. After doing the task, it is not going to return or it is not going to give back any value. That is what you mean by void. Void is a way of telling your compiler that main function is going to do some work. But after doing that work, it will not give you back any acknowledgement. So how to tell my compiler, how to instruct my compiler is, I will mention with the help of this void. So as I said, void means nothing. Okay, so now another question which is asked is, shall we use return 0 while using any other keyword other than int? Okay, yes, you can use, but not for the main function. You can use for some functions that you are creating. Okay, so there are some functions which you will create for your own purpose, for the program purpose. Say, for example, I am creating a function like this, void, I'm sorry, float f1. So this is a function that I am creating for writing some code inside. Okay, my own logic I want to put here. So here this function, I am saying return 0. Okay, now I'm going to execute this function. I'm going to run this program. See, no error. It is not having any error at all. You can use it, but only for your own functions. Main function, you always have to use only int main. You are not going to use any other formats for the main function. See guys, the thing again I'm telling you, this 0 is an integer number. 0 is an integer number. My operating system can understand 0 means success. It is predefined. It is built like that. When they are creating the operating system, they are creating it like that, that error code is there. Some error codes will be there. Each and every error code will have one meaning. So in that, 0 means success. Program has successfully completed. So that is why we are giving here return 0. We are giving, okay, 0 is what type of a number? I keep saying 0 is an integer. It is a whole number. It is not any fractional. It is not a decimal value. So that is why here we are saying that int main. Why we are using int is because this is a 0. 0 is integer. 0 is a whole number. Whole number in C language is represented by the keyword integer. Char means single character. We are not returning a character. So how can I say char? Float means decimal values. Again, we are not returning a decimal value. So how we can put float over there? So that is why I said whenever we are writing the main function, we always have to use only int main. We cannot use any other data type. Only two possibilities for the main function. One, you can use either the void keyword saying that main is not going to return anything, or else you can use the int keyword which is going to say that this main function is going to give you the value that is nothing but 0. Right? Okay. So this is all about your main function. So other than main function, what other part of the code is present? What is the other structure of the program that we may be having? I have another section which is called as user defined functions. So user defined functions, or we also call this as subprograms. Another name for this, we also call it as subprograms. So what is a user defined function? Who is the user here? We are the one who are writing the programs, right? So we are the users. So user defined function means functions that we are creating for our own purpose. That is like printf. Like printf, I will create my own function. I will write the code, what that function needs to be doing. I will mention all that and create my own function. That is what we call as the user defined functions. So these are all the sections of a C program. So whenever we are going to write a C program, these are the different sections that can be present inside a program. So other than this, we will not be writing any other code. A valid C program will be consisting of all this. It is our thing. It is not necessary that all the sections should be there in each and every program. No, I am saying what are all the possible sections you can have. But if you want, we can have only this. If you take an example of this, okay, if you take an example of this program, okay, let us take this out. What is this program having? This program is having a header file. Yes, I have a preprocessor hash include. Okay, I have a link section because this file is included in my program. So link section is there, preprocessor is there, main is there. That's all. I don't have any other section. I don't have a documentation section. Okay, I don't have any definition or a global section. I don't have any user defined section. So those things are not there, but still it is a valid C program. So please understand these are the possible things you can have in a program. And out of this, according to your program's requirement, we will be writing the code. Right. Okay. So now moving on to other basic fundamental things. Okay. Moving on to other of our basic fundamental things, what you should be knowing for writing our program. In order for me to write a program, other than these things, what are the concepts I should be knowing? So I should be knowing about my comments, which I have already covered. I should be knowing about my keywords. Again, I have already described you about our keywords. What are keywords? How many keywords are there? Yes. Next thing is something called as identifiers. Next thing is we are going to discuss about something called as identifiers. Okay. Next to that, we should know about our data types. So what are all the data types that is there in C language? What is supported? What is not? Then you should be knowing about the concept of modifiers. So what is a modifier? Why are we going to use our modifiers? What is it going to do to our program? All right. So the next topic is variables. So what is a variable? How to create a variable? How to give a value for the variable? So these are all the other things that you should be knowing. So this is the basic, guys. This is our basic fundamental thing for writing any C program. And right. So in this, I have already, as I said, discussed about comments. So comments, I told you in the documentation section, two types of comments, single line, multi-line. Keywords, yes, we have covered this also. So next thing what we are going to discuss is identifiers. So what are identifiers? Identifier is a user defined name. So what is an identifier? An identifier is a user defined name. So here, who is the user? Again, user defined name means nothing but name given by the programmer. Name given by the programmer. See, there are many parts of my C program where the programmer has to specify a name. For example, who gives the name of variables? Who decides the name of the variables? You only decide, right? Whether it is A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, whatever it is, you only decide the name. Okay, when you are going to create your own functions, who gives the name for the functions? Programmer only provides that. Same way, when I want to create an array, who is going to specify the name of my array? Again, as a programmer, I only do it. Right, same way for my pointers. Pointer is another kind of variable. So when I'm going to create a pointer, again, it is the programmer who has to give a name for the pointer. Okay, same way when I'm going to create a structure, there is another concept in C called a structure. Again, who's going to give the name for a structure? Programmer. Union. One more concept called as union. Again, name for a union given by the programmer. I have something called as enums, or what we call as enumerated data type. So again, who's going to give a name for the enum? Programmer. So within a program, there are many places that a programmer has to suggest a name, or programmer has to give a name. That name is what we call as an identifier. Okay, so remember, difference between a keyword and an identifier. Keyword are predefined. You cannot decide the keyword. Keywords are decided by the program, by the program itself. So when they created the C program, Mr. Dennis Ritchie formed all the keywords. He said, okay, 32 keywords, each and every keyword, this is the meaning. So keywords are predefined. Identifiers are programmer defined or user defined. You're going to specify the names. Simple here. Each and every one of us has a name. Why do we have a name? In our classroom, when my teacher, faculty member want to call me, how will she call? Girl wearing a blue color dress, having a ponytail, having a glasses. Like that, she cannot call me, right? So that is the purpose of our name, to identify ourselves. Same way, within a program, I want to identify a section of the program. So how to identify that section? By giving a name for it. And that name is nothing but my identifier. So please remember, identifiers are user defined names or programmer given name. And a programmer will be giving name for all these concepts. Whenever we are going to make use of all these concepts, we give a name for this. Okay, so now it is not possible for us to simply give a name. Whatever we feel like, we cannot call that name. There are some certain rules that needs to be followed. So whenever you are going to give a name, you have to follow certain rules of it. So the first rule says that how long? How long can a name be? How long can a name be? See, we all have a name. Does our name have only one character? No, right? We have a group of characters together forms our name. Same way, when I am going to create a variable, why should I create a variable of a single name? I can give a big name also. So how long? What is the maximum length or what is the maximum capacity of a name? So please remember, most of your compilers, most of your compilers, because see, why I'm saying most is there are different types of compilers. Okay, there are different compilers used for your C language to execute our C language. So it is not one, many are there. So most of the compilers, on average, a compiler can accept only 31 characters. A compiler can accept only 31 characters in a name. Suppose I want to create a variable. I am saying first name. First name. This is the name of the variable is equal to give some value. Okay, so I am giving the value like this. This is how I am storing. This is my name. I'm storing it inside this variable. So this is the name of a variable. So how long this name can be? Maximum of 31 characters, not more than that. So that is the first rule we have to follow. So whenever you are going to give a name, make sure the name is within 31 characters. But one thing, we don't have to worry about this rule at all. How many of you create a big variable? We always make use of variable like this only. A is equal to, B is equal to, X is equal to, because it is very easy for us to type. Basically, we are all very lazy people, right? So we never use big names at all in variables. We always use only single characters. So this rule is not for us at all. But yeah, speaking of which, so 31 characters is the maximum. Okay, what is rule number 2? Rule number 2 says that a name must always begin. Okay, that is the starting character. Starting character can be an alphabet. Okay, so it can be an alphabet. So alphabet in the sense it can be an uppercase letter, it can be a lowercase letter, anything. So it should be an alphabet, or what is the other option they are saying? It can be an underscore. So you have used the underscore symbol, right? It is like this. In your system, we use underscore mostly in the email IDs, passwords, and all. We use this symbol underscore. So the name, whatever name you are going to give, the name has to start either with an alphabet or this underscore symbol. You cannot have anything else. You cannot have anything else as a starting character. So if you are going to give, your compiler is going to throw as an error. Okay, let us say for example. Okay, let us say int. Okay, for now, just keep it as int. Okay, now I'm saying yeah. Now I run the program. See, there will be no output, but I'm just telling you the program will not throw any error. So yes, A is a valid name. Suppose I'm giving the name as age. I'm creating a variable called as age. Yes, that is also correct. Suppose I am giving the variable like this. A12. This is also valid because the starting character is an alphabet. So when I run this, this is also valid. No error. I can also give a variable name like this underscore A12. Yes, because the variable name can also start with an underscore symbol. So when I run this also, no error. But see how I am going to get this. I am saying 12A. This is the name of my variable. I am saying 12A is equal to 100. Give a value like this. Now you run the program. See what happens. Where is the error throwing? Exactly at this line. This 12A is the error. So remember, it is an identifier error. It is an identifier error. That means that is what I said. What is the rule? Starting character should either be an alphabet or an underscore symbol. Other than this, you cannot have anything else. Subsequent characters. Now, what do you mean by subsequent characters? I am saying this is a starting, but it can have some more characters also. So subsequent characters. So subsequent characters can be a combination of some more alphabets or another underscore symbol, or it can be any numbers also. It can be any numbers 10, 12, 100, 1000, whatever it is, any numbers. So first character, this is a rule. Next, that is following characters of the name can either be some more alphabets or it can be an underscore symbol or it can be a combination of any numbers also. Yes, thank you for that update, guys. Yes, so the session time is up. Yes, it is a variable. Okay, it is a variable. Identifier is one of the type of a variable. So it is like very similar. All the rules I am saying here, these rules are applicable for my variables also. When I'm going to give a name for the function also, I should follow all these. When I'm giving a name for array also, I should follow all this. So these rules are common for everything. Okay, right, guys. Thank you for reminding. Time is up for today. So we will continue from this point onwards to in tomorrow's session. Okay, thank you, guys. And if you do have any doubts, kindly put it in the chat. We will clear that and then start. So, guys, thank you so much and have a good day.